Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We like to keep you ahead of the curve when it comes to tech, and today, well, we've got some pretty interesting news.
It's a big one for sure. Some juicy insider info that has the tech world buzzing.
Okay, spill it. What's the scoop?
Rumor has it Samsung might be ditching lithium-ion batteries.
Whoa. Hold on. Lithium-ion batteries, those have been in our smartphones like forever.
I know, right? It's kind of a shocker. But the word on the street is that their 2026 flagship phone, the Galaxy S26, might be rocking something entirely new. Silicon carbon batteries.
Silicon carbon batteries.
Oh.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. The S25 is just about to launch, so the S26 is still way out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. The S26 is probably still in its early stages of development. So this is a very early peek behind the curtain.
Which makes it even more intriguing.
Yeah.
Okay, so back up a bit. How did this whole silicon carbon thing even come to light? Is this based on like solid evidence, or are we talking about rumors and speculation here? Well, it all started with a leak. Actually, a double leak.
Oh, this is getting good. A double leak. Okay, tell me more.
So there's this guy, Jukanlosreve. He's a known leaker in the tech sphere, generally pretty reliable. And he dropped this bombshell on X. It used to be Twitter.
Yeah, the new Twitter.
Got it. Right, so he posted about it, and apparently he got the info from another leaker, Ice Universe, who originally posted it on Weibo, which is a massive social media platform in China.
Weibo. Okay, so this is like double agent level intel then.
Pretty much. And it's got everyone talking. Because if it's true, it could mean a huge shift, not just for Samsung, but for the entire smartphone industry.
Okay, but hold on. For those of us who aren't glued to the tech rumor mill, what exactly is a leaker?
Good point. Not everyone lives and breathes tech leaks like we do.
Right. So break it down for us. What do these leakers do? How did they get this information?
Basically, they're individuals with their ears to the ground, often with connections within these companies. They get wind of things, early specs, design changes, sometimes even entire product roadmaps before the official announcements.
So basically like digital detectives uncovering the secrets of the tech world.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And in this case, they've uncovered something pretty big.
Okay, I'm hooked. So let's dive into this silicon carbon mystery. What makes these batteries so special? Why would Samsung even consider making such a radical change?
Well, for starters, silicon carbon batteries offer some pretty compelling advantages over lithium-ion.
Like what? Give me the rundown.
Okay, so first off, they're potentially a huge win for the environment.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah?
How so?
Well, you see, silicon and carbon are abundant elements. We can find them pretty much everywhere.
Right. Pretty common stuff.
Exactly. Lithium-ion batteries, on the other hand, rely on materials like cobalt and lithium, which are much rarer and harder to mine.
And I'm guessing that mining process isn't exactly eco-friendly.
You got it. Extracting those resources can be environmentally damaging and sometimes even ethically questionable.
So switching to silicon carbon could make the S26 a much greener device. That's pretty impressive, especially considering the push for sustainability these days. But I gotta ask, what about performance? Will these new batteries actually hold a charge longer?
That's the million-dollar question. And the answer is potentially yes. Silicon carbon batteries have a higher energy density compared to lithium-ion.
Higher energy density. What does that mean in plain English?
Basically, it means they can pack more energy into the same amount of space. So in theory, a Galaxy S26 with a silicon carbon battery could have significantly longer battery life.
We're not just talking a few extra hours here, right?
Potentially even days.
Whoa, days. Now that's what I call progress. But hold on, doesn't silicon have a reputation for being a bit, well, volatile? I vaguely remember something about it expanding and contracting a lot.
You're right, that's been one of the main challenges with silicon and batteries.
Yeah.
It can swell up during charging and shrink back down when discharging. Imagine a balloon inflating and deflating repeatedly. Eventually it's going to weaken and potentially even break.
So not ideal for a smartphone battery.
Not unless you want your phone to puff up like a balloon. But researchers have been working on ways to stabilize silicon, like using nanostructured silicon or combining it with other materials to create a more robust structure.
So they're finding ways to tame this wild silicon, basically. And it sounds like Samsung might be betting on these advancements to deliver a reliable and long-lasting battery. It all seems very promising. But I'm curious, has anyone actually managed to pull this off before? Are silicon carbon batteries already out there in the wild?
They are, but not on a large scale.
Fine.
Honor. A Chinese tech company dipped their toes in the water with a limited release of silicon carbon-powered phones in China.
Oh, interesting. So it's not completely unheard of.
Right, but their reach is nowhere near Samsung's global presence.
Yeah.
If Samsung manages to crack the code and mass-produce these batteries for a flagship phone like the S26, it could truly be a game changer, not just for Samsung, but for the entire smartphone industry.
It's like they're holding the keys to the next generation of smartphones. But if this technology is so promising, why haven't we seen it widely adopted already? What are the hurdles that companies like Samsung are facing?
Well, there are a few key challenges. One of the biggest is cost. Right now, manufacturing silicon carbon batteries is significantly more expensive than producing lithium-ion batteries.
So for a company like Samsung to make this switch, they'd need to find a way to bring down the costs without compromising on quality or performance.
Exactly. It's a balancing act.
Okay, so cost is a major factor, but I'm assuming it's not the only roadblock.
You're right. There are also those technical challenges we touched upon earlier, like ensuring the silicon remains stable throughout the battery's lifespan. And then there's the issue of coulombic efficiency.
Coulombic, what now? You're going to have to break that one down for me.
Think of it as a measure of how effectively a battery can store and release energy. A higher coulombic efficiency means less energy is wasted during the charging and discharging cycles.
Okay, so the higher the efficiency, the better.
Exactly. And silicon carbon batteries, at least in their current form, tend to have lower coulombic efficiency compared to lithium-ion batteries. So even though they can hold more energy, some of it gets lost along the way.
So it's like having a bigger gas tank, but a leak in the fuel line.
That's a great analogy. And that's why research and development are crucial. Scientists are constantly working on ways to improve the coulombic efficiency of silicon carbon batteries, making them not just bigger, but also smarter in how they use that energy.
Okay, so we've got the environmental benefits, the potential for longer battery life, and the hurdles that come with this bleeding-edge technology. It's a fascinating mix of potential and challenges. But before we get too carried away with imagining a world powered by silicon carbon batteries, let's take a step back and remember something crucial.
You mean the fact that this is all still based on leaks and speculation?
Exactly. As much as we love a good tech mystery, we need to keep in mind that Samsung hasn't officially confirmed any of this. So while it's exciting to explore the possibilities, we should take it all with a grain of salt until we see an official announcement.
Agreed. But even if the Galaxy S26 doesn't end up with a silicon carbon battery, the fact that we're even having this conversation tells us something important.
What's that?
It tells us that the battery landscape is evolving, that innovation is happening at a rapid pace, and that silicon carbon technology is a serious contender in the race to power the future. And it's not just Samsung. Other major players in the tech world are also pouring resources into researching and developing silicon carbon batteries.
So it's not just about a single phone or a single company. We're witnessing a potential paradigm shift in how we think about and use energy. And for those who are listening for you, this means that the way you charge your devices, the way you think about battery life, all of that might change drastically in the not-so-distant future.
Exactly. And this shift could have implications far beyond smartphones. We're talking about electric vehicles, laptops, power tools, even large-scale energy storage for renewable energy sources. The potential ripple effect of this technology is truly mind-boggling.
Okay, I'm officially on the edge of my seat, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive already, from the initial leak to the potential benefits and challenges of silicon carbon batteries. But there's still so much more to explore.
We've only just scratched the surface.
So for those of you who are hungry for more, stay tuned, because we're about to dive even deeper into this fascinating topic.
We'll be discussing the wider applications of silicon carbon technology and how it could revolutionize industries beyond smartphones. We'll also explore the economic factors at play and what it might take for this technology to become truly mainstream. So grab your thinking caps and get ready for part 2 of our silicon carbon battery deep dive.
Okay, so we've established that silicon carbon batteries have the potential to be a real game changer. But as with any emerging technology, there are some hurdles to overcome. I'm particularly interested in those wider applications you mentioned. Let's zoom out from smartphones for a bit and explore how silicon carbon could revolutionize other industries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's no better place to start than with electric vehicles or EVs. Imagine a world where your electric car can travel twice as far on a single charge, or recharges in the time it takes to grab a coffee.
Okay, stop. I can only handle so much future awesomeness at once. But seriously, that would be a paradigm shift for the entire auto industry, wouldn't it? No more range anxiety, faster charging times. That could really tip the scales in favor of electric vehicles.
Exactly. And it's not just about passenger cars. Think about electric buses, trucks, even long-haul transportation. Silicon carbon batteries could significantly improve the efficiency and practicality of these vehicles, helping to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels.
It's like we're talking about the electrification of everything. But let's not forget about all the other gadgets we rely on every day. What about laptops, tablets, power tools? Could they benefit from the silicon-carbon magic too?
Absolutely. Imagine a laptop that can run for days on a single charge, or power tools that never seem to run out of juice. Silicon-carbon batteries could usher in a new era of portable electronics that are both powerful and incredibly long-lasting.
I can already picture myself working from a remote beach cabana laptop, humming away for days without needing an outlet. It's a beautiful vision. But I'm curious, what about the bigger picture? We've touched upon renewable energy a few times now. How do silicon-carbon batteries fit into that puzzle?
That's where things get really interesting. You see, one of the biggest challenges with renewable energy sources like solar and wind power is their intermittent nature. The sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow, which can make it difficult to rely on them for a consistent power supply.
Right. You need a way to store that energy for when you need it, kind of like a giant battery backup for the entire grid.
Precisely. And that's where silicon-carbon batteries could play a crucial role. Their higher energy density and potential for lower costs could make them ideal for large-scale energy storage, helping to smooth out the fluctuations in renewable energy generation and making these sources more reliable and efficient.
So we're talking about a future where homes, businesses, maybe even entire cities could be powered by renewable energy stored in these super efficient batteries. That sounds like a pretty radical transformation of our energy infrastructure.
It is a radical transformation, but it's one that's becoming increasingly plausible as silicon-carbon technology continues to advance. And it's not just about the technology itself.
Wow.
There are economic factors at play here as well.
Okay, let's talk money. We've already mentioned that manufacturing silicon-carbon batteries is currently more expensive than producing lithium-ion batteries. So how do we bridge that gap? What needs to happen for this technology to become commercially viable on a large scale?
Well, economies of scale will play a big role. As production ramps up and manufacturing processes become more efficient, the costs are likely to come down. It's the classic supply and demand principle.
Right. The more you produce, the cheaper it gets, and the cheaper it gets, the more people can afford it. But it's not just about mass production, is it? Innovation plays a role too, right?
Absolutely. Ongoing research and development are crucial for driving down costs and improving performance. Scientists are constantly experimenting with new materials and manufacturing techniques to make silicon-carbon batteries more efficient, durable, and affordable.
It's a race to the top, then. A race to see who can crack the code and unlock the full potential of this technology. But even with all this innovation and potential cost reductions, there's still the question of infrastructure. We're talking about a potential overhaul of how we generate, store, and distribute energy. That's a massive undertaking.
It is a massive undertaking, but it's not insurmountable. Governments and private companies around the world are already investing heavily in renewable energy infrastructure and energy storage solutions. The transition won't happen overnight, but the momentum is building.
So it's a gradual shift, but a significant one nonetheless. But I have to ask, are there any potential downsides to silicon-carbon batteries? I mean, no technology is perfect, right? There must be some trade-offs or challenges that we haven't discussed yet.
You're absolutely right. No technology is without its limitations. And in the case of silicon-carbon batteries, there are a few potential downsides to consider. One of the main concerns is the supply chain. Remember how we talked about silicon and carbon being abundant elements? Well, that's true. But the specific types of silicon and carbon needed for high-performance batteries might not be as readily available or as easy to process as we'd like.
So even though the raw materials are plentiful, there could be bottlenecks in sourcing the right quality materials or in scaling up the production of those specialized components.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of recycling. Lithium-ion battery recycling is already a complex and challenging process. Silicon-carbon batteries might present even more hurdles in terms of safely and efficiently recovering valuable materials at the end of their lifespan.
That's a crucial point. We can't just focus on the shiny new technology without considering the full life cycle and environmental impact. It's all about sustainability from cradle to grave, right?
Absolutely. Responsible sourcing, ethical manufacturing practices, and robust recycling programs will be essential for ensuring that the silicon-carbon battery revolution is truly sustainable in the long run.
Okay, so we've got a lot to consider, from the potential benefits and applications to the challenges and potential downsides. It's a complex landscape, but it's one that's rapidly evolving. But for our listener who's trying to make sense of all this, what's the one key takeaway you'd want them to remember?
I think the key takeaway is that silicon-carbon batteries represent a significant leap forward in battery technology. They have the potential to transform a wide range of industries, from smartphones to electric vehicles to renewable energy storage. But it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the broader context, the economic factors, the environmental considerations, and the ethical implications.
So it's not just a technological revolution, it's a societal one.
Precisely. And it's a revolution that's still unfolding. We're at a crucial juncture where research, innovation, and responsible implementation will determine the trajectory of this technology and its impact on our world.
We've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From that initial Galaxy S26 leak to the potential of silicon-carbon batteries to reshape entire industries. But before we wrap things up, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something that's been on my mind.
Okay, I'm all ears.
We've been focusing on the big picture, how this technology could impact the world. But what about the individual? How will silicon-carbon batteries change the way we live our daily lives, how we interact with our devices, how we think about energy itself?
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the grand narratives. But at the end of the day, it's the individual experiences that truly matter.
Exactly. So let's zoom in a bit and explore how this technology could shift our everyday realities. For starters, I can't help but think about the freedom and flexibility that comes with truly portable devices. No more scrambling for outlets at the airport or frantically searching for a charger before an important meeting.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming control over our time and our energy, both literally and figuratively. Imagine being able to work remotely from anywhere, knowing that your laptop will last for days on a single charge. Or picture yourself going on a multi-day hiking trip without having to lug around a heavy external battery pack.
It's like unshackling ourselves from the tyranny of the power outlet and embracing a more mobile, more spontaneous way of life.
Yeah. But it's not just about convenience, is it? There are deeper implications for our productivity, our creativity, even our mental well-being. Absolutely. When we're constantly tethered to a power source, it limits our ability to move freely, to think outside the box, to fully immerse ourselves in the moment. Silicon-carbon batteries could liberate us from those limitations, allowing our minds to wander, to explore, to create without boundaries.
It's like we're talking about a cognitive shift, or rewiring of our brains to embrace a more expansive, more flexible way of thinking and working. But beyond the individual level, there are also profound implications for society as a whole.
For sure. Think about the potential for education in remote or underserved areas. Silicon-carbon-powered devices could provide access to knowledge and learning opportunities that were previously unimaginable.
It's about bridging digital divides and empowering individuals with the tools they need to succeed, regardless of their location or socioeconomic status. And then there's the whole realm of telemedicine. Imagine the possibilities for providing healthcare access to those who are unable to travel to a doctor's office or hospital.
Bringing healthcare to the people rather than the other way around. Silicon-carbon-powered devices could revolutionize the way we deliver and receive healthcare, making it more accessible, more affordable, and more equitable.
It's like we're weaving a web of connectivity, bringing people together, sharing knowledge, and providing essential services in ways that were once impossible. It's a powerful vision, but one that requires careful consideration and responsible implementation.
Couldn't agree more. As with any transformative technology, there are potential pitfalls and unintended consequences that we need to anticipate and address. We've touched upon some of these already. The ethical sourcing of materials, the potential for job displacement, the importance of data privacy.
And as we navigate this uncharted territory, it's crucial that we have open and honest conversations about these challenges. It's about engaging with diverse perspectives, listening to concerns, and finding solutions that benefit everyone, not just a select few.
Yeah, it's about ensuring that this technological revolution is a force for good, one that uplifts humanity and creates a more just and sustainable world.
So for our listener who's been with us on this deep dive into the world of silicon-carbon batteries, what's the one message you want them to carry with them?
I'd say this. The future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we actively shape through our choices, our actions, and our engagement with the world around us. The silicon-carbon battery revolution is an invitation to reimagine what's possible, to embrace innovation, and to create a future that's brighter, more sustainable, and more equitable for all.
A powerful call to action. And as we wrap up this episode, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative, insightful, and perhaps even a bit inspiring.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The future is ours to create.